The average person has just so little idea about what's coming their way. And it's even more extreme than probably the extreme that most people think about, which is just like the eradication of all jobs and basically everybody has nothing to do. It might even be like slightly more extreme than that. If there's a couple million Waymos in this country, how much less do you think you're spending on transportation over time? You have about 18 months to get really, really rich.
Yeah. And
then it's game over for everybody, is like my rough sense of it. 300 PRs per day is roughly the output of like 1,000 7 out of 10 engineers a day, something like that. He's doing it with 3 agents.
Or no, we're getting crushed too. And we all just sort of report to the AI.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Go.
We are back. We're back. And we have, one of our, I don't even, is it even fair to call Zach
recurring
polarizing?
Polarizing. Right. Polarizing.
But I just
seems right.
I feel like the Zach haters are like 3 people. Because every time, even when you come on, people like out in the real world come up to me and say like, hey, I really like hearing Zach's perspective. My parents like it.
I really
like
don't
have 3
get
really loud haters.
I really don't get the polarization. Zach's one of our close friends for a long time.
Yeah.
I think he brings a lot of like very smart, strong opinions. So I don't get. I
think it's 3 people.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we're giving too much credit to the loud haters.
Well, shout out to them.
Yeah. Zach's back.
But it's good. Haters are good.
No, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Keeps me on my toes.
So Zach is back. I don't know that he needs an intro. I mean, I would imagine if you're a real listener, you know Zach very well. You're sort of the 4th member of the squad. You might be our most reoccurring guest, maybe other than Sneaker Steve.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Zach's back.
What's up, guys?
Zach, can you just give us like a general, I don't mean to ask too general of a question here, but like update on what you're seeing. Like the reason why, among many other things, you have such a good perspective on this show is because you're very deep in the, investment world on sort of the cutting edge of what's going on, where the money's going, where the excitement is. Obviously, all the rage is just all things AI. Is that still front and center for you as well?
And don't forget space.
And space, which, you called space a long time ago. And even though
I want to say I was on this show maybe 3 or 4 years ago talking about space, and Dee told me I was an idiot.
Yeah, I think one of our co-hosts called you an idiot.
We can revisit this in another 3 years, and I think I'll be even more right then. But for now, he's still wrong. And
I love starting out this way, to be honest. So this is great.
This is Anand's favorite intro.
Because I don't have to do it. Zach's doing it for me.
I mean, I don't even have to do it either. We just look at the stock market, and that's hard to argue with. But listen, I've been spending a lot more. The reason I haven't been more frequently on here is because I've just been spending a ton more time in SF. And to be honest, it's pretty insane and scary stuff going on up there, I will say. I think that the average person, I just think that the average person has just so little idea about what's coming their way. And it's even more extreme than probably the extreme that most people think about, which is just like the eradication of all jobs and basically everybody has nothing to do. It might even be like slightly more extreme than that. And it seems more likely every week that I go up, it's probably another like 1 to 3% on the likeliness scale for me that all this stuff happens. So
this is an incredible intro to the pod, because Drama and I had this conversation last Sunday about a close friend of mine that's taking an AI job and how scared he was about what's happening. And then Drama and I had this conversation. We were trying to like calm down the fears. So now you hear this from Zach, Drama, like you take it however you want.
Well, there's this like funny meme, which is like actually like startlingly true, which is when a normal person retires, they kind of are just like, hey, thank you for like all the good times. I'm moving on to my next thing. I'm really excited. When people who work in the AI labs within the teams that are really pushing these things forward retire, they're like, I've looked into the abyss and now I'm quitting to go garden and write poetry and just pray for us all.
Right.
And like, that's like, the smartest people in the world that I know all kind of feel that way.
Right.
And I have this new thing that I've been thinking about where it's like, you have about 18 months to get really, really rich.
Yeah.
And then it's game over for everybody. Is like my rough sense of it.
Let me ask you this, like as D is an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. Obviously Anand does a lot of investing. Like for people of because I would imagine, I'm asking this also because I would imagine a lot of our listeners are similar. In your opinion, Zach, is it a positive story for that sort of group of people, or no, we're getting crushed too, and we all just sort of report to the AI lords?
I think it's like more nuanced than that. I think that there are people who use AI right now, but are probably using it to like. I think that most people who use AI are probably using it to like 50 to 60% of its capacity.
Right.
And that's people who are like proactively using it in their businesses. I think that the average person walking down the street is probably using it to like 10% of its capacity. Maybe it's like asking
a better
it,
Google search. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like asking it like,
WebMD,
who did this guy used to date, or like
Right.
what I have this weird spot on my arm. What's happening with this? Like that's, I would say the majority, like probably a non-insignificant amount of tokens just go to that, just like really menial, mundane kind of things.
Right.
But then there's like maybe less than 1,000 people who are using AI in ways that it's actually very difficult to comprehend.
Right.
And I think that those are the people that are going to be okay. And the people who are like within 1 or 2 standard deviations of that. But when you're the average thing, I think that the point of view that the average person, their lives are going to be really directly improved as a result of them using AI themselves is pretty far-fetched.
Well, just like, here's what I think, right? When I think about like being an entrepreneur, I don't know if this will make sense. Okay, just one like mental exercise that I do is I sort of mentally take a walk through Target or Walmart or any, massive big box retailer. And I look at all of the brands and all of the products that are created by entrepreneurs. What happens to all of that? Like, isn't that opportunity all still there, except for there's less of a barrier to entry and there's less of a overhead? Or how do you see, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but if you did that,
here's how I think about it, right? Let's say you're walking through Target, right?
Yeah.
And you, as an entrepreneur, you notice something that should be on the shelves.
Yeah.
Because you have like some intersection between intuition, knowledge of a specific market, an idea how to do things.
Yeah.
The largest companies in the world, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, these sorts of things, in the Target example specifically, now have infinite pools of data to be making informed decisions on these things too. So where you would normally walk through a Target and be like, you know what, chocolate chip cookie pretzels should exist, and it's crazy that nobody's done that. Very soon, all of these companies will have like extremely proprietary data sets to be able to come to that conclusion themselves, and then come to that conclusion 1,000 times a day on a variety of different things. And then also the feedback loops to test those things become increasingly shorter too. So, and then if all manufacturing becomes automated, all of the like input materials, like the picking of the wheat and the fucking picking of the chocolate and these manufacturing processes all get kind of cooked by robotics too.
Right.
And so it's like,
let me ask you this. Well, keep going. Sorry. Finish there.
Well, no, I'm just saying if you have scale, the chances of you noticing opportunities increases significantly, is my sense of it.
Okay. Let me ask you this let's take like liquid death, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong, just tell me if you think I'm wrong, that I don't know that data could have told you that would have worked, or that was an opportunity. Canned water, liquid death, funny name, cool marketing, very human, let's say. So what do you think about that? Like, will there be an opportunity to sort of out-human the data?
I think my pushback on that specifically is that if you look at like Nestle, for example, which is one of the largest water companies in the world, they will be able to spin up 10,000 brands with effectively zero friction. So maybe they don't come to the intuitive conclusion that, oh, maybe if we do like this Hard Rock logo on like something simple like water and put it in a can, like some person had to think that themselves. Yeah. Whereas it is just going to be a function of crunching insane amounts of data and having a very low barrier of entry to have 10,000 outputs on every single thing.
Right.
And I think that like, this is like an extreme version of this. There's some version of this where it's like, there's some people who still like driving old cars, right? Even though Teslas exist. Or, there's like some version of like human craftsmanship.
Or film cameras or records.
Sort of perseveres through all of this. And I think that that's like to some extent true. But what you're specifically talking about like noticing things in markets and like entrepreneurially being able to take advantage of them, I think that gap actually gets like quite a bit smaller.
So if I think
what I'm asking you, this is the last thing I promise. What I'm asking you specifically is like, you're totally right. And what I'm digging into because I'm trying to run this scenario in my head too, but I just have a lot less info on it than you do because you've seen it up close. And what I always come back to questioning myself is there a unique value proposition that humans bring? Like to me, the biggest one right now is creativity and sort of that nuanced, human lens. Maybe it's less of a factor than I think that it is, but I keep trying to run in my head like, so you could do that. You could run infinite brands. You could have all the data, but humans are still better at this. Like, what is the thing that humans are still better at? Maybe it's nothing, but that's just what I'm trying to find.
That's not true. I think it's taste. Right. It's like a offshoot of what you're saying, which is creativity. It is some version of taste. And so like, even if you go talk to the best Anthropic engineers in the world, or like the people at OpenAI who are like really pushing this thing forward, they still have to direct the LLMs, right? Like there's some recursive learning here, but in a lot of times when you're using these models, you have to be like, hey, this code is like not that good. And that is a version of taste. And there's some version of that permeates across every use case for all this stuff. You still have to understand, humans still have an advantage in being able to say, hey, this is tasteful, this is not.
Right. Because the thought that I had was like, essentially this is equivalent, once again, check me on this or correct me, is it's equivalent to just every person for free having a staff of 50 or 100 or 100,000. That's not true. Right. In what time?
I think it's not true because most people are not using AI correctly.
Well, correct. But I'm saying that's the opportunity. Is everyone has the opportunity to now, create a startup, create a whatever you want, and you also get a staff for $20 a month or whatever it is of 50 of the best accountants, marketing, data analysts, whatever. But is it not
I don't think it's going to be the best because prompting still has such a heavy weight on these things. I think that there are actually maybe less than 25 people in the world who are using AI to its full potential. And I'm happy to explain what they're doing that makes that case. But I think that the average person is probably getting employees who are like a 5 out of 10 or like a 6 out of 10. Which in some industries that works. Like if you have a 6 out of 10 accountant and your personal finances aren't that complicated, you're probably doing okay, But if you're somebody like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or whatever, a 6 out of 10 accountant is just not going to cut it.
Right.
And most people are using these things. Like the point that I keep coming back to is that the average person who walks on Earth that uses AI is using like maybe single digit % of its capacity or capability.
Right. I think you're right. I'm just looking, when I'm trying to guess what the future is, the optimistic take is just all of these skills that used to be barriers to entry because they cost or you couldn't find the talent or the whatever, that's all wiped away. But this sort of leading edge of the, like I said, the creativity or the taste of it is the unique thing.
For now, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But even then, I still maintain that there are maybe less than 25 people on Earth who have the taste, the intersection of taste and knowledge of how far these LLMs can go, to actually like have these insane outcomes,
Right.
So if you think about those 25 people, so how do they displace kind of everything else? If it's only 25, right?
I can give you an example. I invested in a company with this kid, and what he does is he makes basically Claude code for gaming. You can design and build your own multiplayer game that runs in browser, and a bunch of people can use it. He has 7 employees and 3 agents. The 3 agents combined do about 300 PRs a day from a coding perspective.
What's a PR?
A PR is a pull request. So it's like every time you want to basically put new code into the bigger code base and merge it, you have to submit a PR and it gets approved and then it gets merged into the code. 300 PRs per day is roughly the output of like 1,000 7 out of 10 engineers a day, something like that. And he's doing it with 3 agents. And these agents are getting so good. What he did was really interesting, which is he basically put 100% of everything that's ever happened in the company for the last 4 years every granola transcript of a meeting, every Slack comment, every GitHub comment, everything all exists in one data lake. And the agents build on top of that. So they have 100% context of everything that's going on in the company. Some interesting things that have come because of this, they've started to fire contractors proactively. So they'll be like, hey, we've actually been keeping tabs on this marketing guy, and he said he would do 7 things, and he's actually only done 2 of them. Could we fire him, do it ourselves, and you pay us the difference in tokens? Like whatever money you save, just give it to us so we have more tokens. And so, the agents are like proactively firing people. And then another example was they were like, hey, this service provider provides us some CRM bullshit or whatever. We can actually build a better one, and we'll just be our own customer of the CRM we build. But it's also so good that we can actually stand up our own business. The agents are saying this. We should stand up our own business and sell this as a side product. So they're like proactively standing up businesses. And this kind of goes back to sort of like Drama's point, which is like, I think that there's a world in which a lot of businesses get stood up without human intervention, actually. And they will be doing so on the basis of a ton of very actionable and useful insights that might not otherwise exist when you were starting a company as a human.
Right. So that's your kind of danger for what Drama's example was. When you walk through a Target shelf, you have a bunch of companies and you're saying they can just iterate.
An agent at Procter & Gamble will be like, hey, why don't we fucking sell watermelon flavored whatever candy?
You know what it reminds me of, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's similar to when direct-to-consumers started getting popular in like 2015, 16, where they're like, oh, if the banner is red or the banner is blue, we can sell more and get higher click-throughs.
Think about how many people
and email open-throughs and all that stuff, right?
Think about how many people have built massive fortunes on just ad optimization across Facebook, email, Instagram, etc.
And you're saying this can happen now with manufacturing because the robots and the ability for the scale manufacturers to iterate at such a high speed, and then the robots eventually come where it becomes effectively free to test it.
Well, they can just optimize every decision based on way more data than a human could ever process.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And so when you talk about people staring into the abyss that are the deepest researchers in all these different companies, what's the abyss in their opinion?
The abyss is like, what is the point of humanity if not to like build, like if humans don't have things to build and accomplish and do, where does that leave people?
Let me ask you a question. What about like if someone were to even be faced with that question and then say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a coffee shop for my neighborhood. And here's the purpose of it. And whatever, maybe there's a give back. And I love my neighbors. I love my community. And that person has a successful little coffee shop that couldn't be done by AI. Is that
like, I think that is 100%. Like, here's how I think about it, right?
Right.
I'm sure somewhere in the world, there are still blacksmiths that exist.
Right.
But there's a lot less than when people needed horseshoes.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, all I'm doing is trying to play it out in my head to come to my conclusion of what the future looks like. And to me, that's the only thing that like I feel like all of the biggest businesses in the world are completely disrupted.
I think it ends up in like,
but like there's like this human, I make fucking plants and I make flowers in my garden and I sell them to the community and
maybe it's even simpler. Maybe there's some version of this that's even simpler, where it's like, if you look through humanity, people have always found meaning in doing creative things, right? Poetry, singing, art. Like, my sense of it is that people just have infinite more time to do these things.
I do just think that there's this human like instinct to make things for other people. And to, I make cookies and I love making cookies and they're the best cookies. And so I started, Cheryl's Cookies. And then all of a sudden it started, there's this innate human, I don't think everyone will be driven to go paint and play guitar. I think that there's this innate human desire. And maybe that's why you're saying people are looking into the abyss and saying well, what the fuck? Because I think, there's this desire to make things that connect with people and add value to people's life.
Totally.
But
I think
guess
the
you're
point
saying
that I'm
might
making.
get wiped away.
No, it's not even that they might get wiped away. People will always make cookies. The likelihood that they're going to build a fucking massive cookie business goes down by the day. Sure, they can make cookies for their neighborhood, and I'm sure they're going to be great. But the chances that they're building the next Chips Ahoy or Oreo goes down every day.
Maybe I'm going too far here, but do you think that what about the scenario of the same way that people are, walking out of graduation speeches because of AI and all of this type of stuff? Is there a world where people just no longer buy Chips Ahoy? You only support businesses that are human? No, that's ridiculous.
Maybe. I'm unsure.
I'm just trying to, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, and this is why I talked to Anand about on last week.
Here's maybe like an equivalent that could help us think through this. It would like being saying, I actually only like brick and mortar businesses. I don't buy anything off the internet. There are, I'm sure there are people
kind of happening like that. Kind
I'm sure there
of
are
exists.
some people. Yeah, I'm sure there are some people who do that.
Yeah.
The amount of people that buy things off Amazon is infinitely bigger.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I just wonder, here's the thing, here's what I'm getting at too. And this is where I'm sort of biased is I said this to Anand on last week's episode. I am just convinced that we won't fall off a cliff. Like I just for whatever reason. I'm not
saying we're going to fall off a cliff.
Well, but what happens if no one has any purpose?
Well, that's what we have to figure out. It's not a cliff. It's just a shift in. So like, here's another way to think about it, right? If you were the average person living in the 1400s, average, like dead middle average, you probably spent 60% of your life in a field cutting down wheat and other random shit, tending to pigs and horses and whatever.
Right. Now
you can sit in an air-conditioned room and play Twitch and make money playing Twitch. Like there's just but the evolutions to it.
You're totally right. But my argument to that is we're talking about that happening to everyone over the span of like 2 years. Like it's such
I don't think it's 2 years, but I think it's the next decade.
Okay. But it's still like such a big, it's that, but to like work as a whole.
Yeah.
Like it's monumental, even compared to some of the most disruptive technologies. Like it's so much bigger than any disruptive technology.
Like we went from, like slave labor to having forklifts and, backhoes and diggers and stuff like, and things didn't collapse. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I have a few counters because I know
Sorry,
the people
I'm just sort of.
No. I like where you're going with it. No, it's really interesting because we're getting so many different perspectives because obviously Zach's in the weeds. I'm probably like a little more 30,000 feet than Zach. And you're
I'm the furthest one away from it.
No, but you're producing goods for humans, right?
That's true. That's true.
You're producing goods for humans.
Well, as of right now. I'm going to start practicing painting here pretty soon.
But I guess here's the thing with, I know the people you're referencing that have this abyss opinion. And I have a few examples in my experience in Silicon Valley. And I've actually referenced this example on the podcast over the last decade. Drama, I don't even know if you remember. Yeah. Dee and I were on the way to someone's house that Zach knows extremely well 10 years ago for kind of a Silicon Valley meetup.
Yeah.
And my friend that was taking us there was like, hey, I'm just going to give you a heads up. When you get there, there's going to be some weird conversations.
Yeah, I remember
2016.
This. Yeah.
And they're going to talk about overthrowing the government, that we need a new party. This is how like America can get fixed. And it was a fascinating heads up to get going into the conversation.
Yeah.
It was actually before 2016 because it's before Trump. So, but what they got was Trump.
I remember,
that same group got Trump, which no government was overthrown, but there was a faction of the country that they were able to tap into. And it's the same people that backed him. And then even around that same time, there was Balaji Srinivasan, who now actually tried to do it, was talking about building a new country because this is crypto and drones, nothing to do with AI. Because in 2014 there was no AI that was commercialized, and I'm going to start a new country. I'm going to go to, the desert of Mongolia and prove that we can use all the technology because regulation is so tough in any commercialized country. I'll do it. And he just got kicked out of Malaysia. I don't know if you saw. I'm sure Zach saw the news, but he tried to do this in Malaysia in 2026. So my point is, these opinions are very grand, and I get back to the same thing we talked about last episode and the couple episodes previous with our friend Rohan, who Zach knows really well, who's very dialed in the space, how 99.99% of the world has no idea what buying a token means.
Right.
So how do we go from right where we are today to the abyss?
Right.
Because I think it's because the top 10,000 people who know how to use tokens so effectively are accelerating faster than seems possible towards the outcome that we're talking about.
Can I ask you this, Zach? Is there any acceleration, any developments? Okay, so the way I see this playing out is those people, like you said, are accelerating extremely fast. The way that will look in reality, I believe, is just all of a sudden you will start to see job numbers decline and layoffs increase, and it'll sort of, start to build. And then all of a sudden, like, it's sort of like you look at it and you're like, oh shit, this is it. This is not just regular job loss numbers. Is there any developments in the solution to that issue? There's not, right? Nobody's talking about like, well, what would we do? Are they gaming out other than like universal income?
I think in certain Silicon Valley circles, universal basic income is one thing that's discussed a lot.
Yeah.
Elon has multiple times said that money's not going to mean anything in 5 years or 10 years because everything is so cheap. What's the point of money?
It seems like the Silicon Valley dialogue, because I've heard this from people that I know Zach is talking to, and if I'm talking to similar people or different people, they all have the same opinion. Are they right this time?
Right.
Because crypto, which I'm still a big fan of. So for the record, still a big fan of crypto. That was supposed to be as disruptive as AI. And it's hit a ton of stumbling blocks since 2008, since that white paper came out, but still a multi-trillion-dollar asset, still going to be around. Right. But it didn't happen at the pace. And it was the similar people that were talking about crypto are now just talking about AI. They just have a bigger microphone because of podcast, YouTube, and social media. So is this time different is the question.
I think that the right framing, though, is that even if they are some percentage correct, it is still such a secular shift. And even on the crypto example, for instance, the one big hallmark conversation around crypto that was always really talked about is we are going to disintermediate the banks. Like, fuck the banks. And if you actually look at stablecoin usage around the world, in a lot of ways that did come true.
Yeah, it's a multi-trillion-dollar annual, like, stablecoins is honestly, to repeat what you're saying, is the hallmark of what crypto's promise was.
Yeah, is to disintermediate banks. That was the whole point of it the whole time. And to some extent it has come true. So my whole point on this is, like, I think it's actually very useful to think in power law outcomes, because even if it is some percentage right of the power law outcome, you still have a good framework for how to think about these things. And even in the example, I know who you're talking about when you're talking about, like the people who are talking about starting their own societies and whatever.
Yeah.
In some ways, bringing Trump, a complete outsider, into the political sphere and having him sort of act orthogonally to how a lot of politicians have in the past is some version of it. Like, there are extremes that all these guys like to think about because you are paid to think in extremes in Silicon Valley. You are not paid to think in middle outcomes. You're only paid to think on the edges. And there's just even if 80% of it comes true, 70% of it comes true, it is still such a large secular shift that the world is fundamentally changed.
That's what I think I'm so optimistic about. And that kind of starts to define my take, which is that, yes, the initial conversation was banks will be no more. What actually happened? Yeah, it had a big impact. Banks didn't go anywhere. But yes, there was a fundamental shift. Same with, we're going to start a new government. Trump's going to be our guy. Today, in reality, yes, Trump had some huge shifts, but also there's a lot of what he does that are very similar to previous presidents. So it's like, I just feel, maybe I'm just being wishfully thinking here, is it's sort of like the pitch is this like crazy, groundbreaking, life-changing shift. The reality ends up being some version of it that feels much more swallowable than this crazy. I think the thing that also, like, I try to fight against is, I think even though this AI message is, like, at the end of the day, I think AI is great. I think it's like one of the best things for the human race, but it is scaring the shit out of everyone. And I think, like, everyone has this like nihilistic doomer, like if the world's even around in 5 years type of mentality, especially young people. And I just don't think it's the right way to look at it. But I guess I'm trying to figure out how to articulate why. But I just don't think that's ever the right mentality. But I see it a lot in young people that, hey, climate change was first. We're still, that's still coming, right? And then now we have AI. So now we're worthless. There's robots and computers doing our jobs, and the world's going to melt in 10 years. I think a shocking number of young people totally believe that.
Yeah, I think the distribution of opinions of all the people we're talking about, specifically Silicon Valley, right? Like if you think about TBPN, it's become, as big as any mainstream media network. Yeah. And they have people daily preaching this with a large audience. Right. So it's very easy to get that opinion that AI is here, AI is coming. Whereas 10 years ago, the exact same people that were on TBPN today, the A-list stars that they get on from a tech perspective, A-list, were building bunkers in New Zealand, building bunkers all around the world. Same people, because I've heard this, when COVID started, they were like, get your guns ready, world's ending. And then those exact same people were like, COVID was stupid, no mask, no vaccine. Right. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt. And I'm more on your side, Drama, than Zach. Sorry, even though we love you.
I don't know that Zach is actually saying we're all fucked. He's not, which I want to make sure. Like
he did open the pod saying you have 18 months to get rich.
I know.
No, I do. I think that
that's true.
I think that it's important to think about like averages and these sorts of things. And so if you think about the average person in America, they are like making somewhere between like $60K to $70K a year, working in like some consumer facing job. Maybe they work at a Starbucks, maybe they work at a gas station, maybe they work at. It is tough to say that those people will have a good time in the future because they are not providing enough value to sort of persist. And like, if you look at humanity as kind of this like long time scale thing, everywhere where people provided sort of the lower ends of value in humanity, they kind of get displaced.
Right.
There's totally significantly less farmers in this country than there was even 100 years ago.
Right.
Blacksmiths, all of these like very cornerstone important, like if you were a blacksmith in the medieval times, you were like the most important dude of all time.
Right. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And I do think that that's just always the way, like your comparison of the local shop versus Amazon is just true, but I just wonder, I think once again, to Anand's point, if you worked at a bank and you were privy to the conversations that you guys probably both, but that I know Anand was a part of in whatever year that was, 10 or more years ago about crypto, you would be like, oh, my life is pointless. I need an entirely different career path. This completely checks out. There's no need for banks. I'm out of here. And here we are, fast forward, and it just is very, very far from erasing banks. And I just wonder if there's any similar effect.
But directionally, if you were to look at how many bank branches have opened over the last 5 years versus the preceding 5 years,
right?
I think you would actually, like, there's an acute version of this that is difficult to tell from 30,000 feet up.
Right.
Like,
so bank branches, I agree, but if you looked at number of employees at JP Morgan, I mean, isn't the number...
And
sure, maybe they're consolidating,
record, right? Their profits are record. So I think
maybe there's a consolidation, but is like the average community bank that used to service farmers in Tennessee, are those still opening?
Right,
but isn't that's a regulation problem? No,
those were cornerstone community banks are what this country was built on.
But I think what we came from the financial crisis, which is
Glass-Steagall and all this stuff made it more difficult to open a new bank.
And it's impossible to compete with JP Morgan.
But the old ones aren't doing well either.
But that's because their costs are too high. JP Morgan and Goldman can stomach theirs. So this goes
back to my original point that everything gets consolidated to the people that have the highest leverage across data and technology.
Right. And I think what Zach said a little bit ago was really smart in the sense that people that are in this space are betting on the home run, right? Like world's changing, world's ending. But if they're even 10% right, they get super rich and successful. And that 10% will happen, which I do agree, but it's counter to what the fear of the world is, where everyone's useless.
Yeah, and I still think, and once again, I will admit, I don't think this based on some sort of deep knowledge or research. It's just my belief in like the way it's always worked, that however this thing sorts out, yes, the AI people on the front lines are going to get unimaginably wealthy. I think there will be some consolidation. I think absolutely. But I just think that it works out as a net positive for everyone. There's just no, I don't know. I would have trouble telling, Zach, you might not. I would have trouble telling the Starbucks employee that they're just fucked. Like, I think on net, it always ends up
See, I think that there's a nuance here where it's they are fucked if they like working at Starbucks. As a human, they're probably not that fucked.
fair, because I think that, I mean, how many people are there
if
that
they
actually
live to work at Starbucks, their life is ruined. If they actually have interest outside of that, they're probably okay.
Right. And my argument there would be, I don't think there's many people that say, man, I was just definitely born and put on this earth to work at Starbucks. You learn to live it because it becomes your purpose. You'll find a new purpose, I think.
Totally agree. Like that's where I think that it's really important for me to like split hairs here, is I think that if you really care about your work as an output of your life, things will be more difficult for you over time. If you're just here to have a good time and experience other humans and create shit and kind of just like have really good healthcare and like not worry about too much,
right,
things are probably pretty good for you. But
let me ask you if I can make an amendment to that. Tell me if you agree. Is if you are married to your specific job, you might be at risk. If you like what you like about, like if you work at Starbucks, what you like about Starbucks is it's a place to go. You're meeting with people every day. You're making their day a little bit. You're seeing them smile because you gave them their coffee. It's part of the routine. It's all of that you love. It's the human aspect of it that you love. It's not necessarily the green fucking, hat and shirt you put on, apron. Right. So I would argue that even if you love work, love serving people, you're still probably going to be in okay shape. If you specifically like working at the counter at Starbucks, you might want to rethink it.
Yeah, because I think just to like draw your point, because I have kids, the number of restaurants I go to with my kids, the number of times they say, we saw your kid at birth and we see the kind of version of you 18 years ago. Now their kid's coming. This is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Meaning they got to see like a baby that came in and then all of a sudden they come in as an adult and they're like, this is how I get satisfaction. I've had that conversation with a number of people at restaurants that I frequent.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess my point is that if the thing that you like is interfacing with people, that is probably not going to go away. If the thing is that you like is being paid to interface with people, that is probably going away.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so let me ask you this, Zach, if you can provide this for us. If I'm listening to this and I'm like, well, my day's ruined. Thanks, Zach. Now I'm part of the Zach hater group.
Yeah, this might be the most polarizing version of Zach.
I know. We started it off and now I just made a bunch of enemies. What do you tell me though? What do you tell me, Zach? I'm sad now. It's Monday morning. Fucking group chat came on. My life is pointless. Is there an optimistic angle in your opinion, in your view of this? Or
here's my point of view on this. The reason that anybody works, or a reason a large majority of people work, I'll take that back. Anything is too extreme. The reason that the people work because they are trying to acquire resources.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is there's a lot of people who work just because they have a love for the game, but most people work because they need to pay their bills. They need a roof over their head. They need food to eat. They want healthcare. They want to be able to take care of their friends and family. My contention is that all of that becomes so much more ubiquitous in everybody's life. You just don't have to work at Starbucks to get there.
That's the positive outcome of what we're talking about. That's what Elon said in the interview with the economist at BBC, where if the costs of goods and services become effectively free because AI is so good, then everyone's fine.
Here's a concrete example.
Yeah.
Think about how much people spend on transportation every year. Car insurance, just cars, car insurance, paying your monthly car accidents, fucking flat tire, all of these things.
Yeah.
If there's a couple million Waymos in this country, how much less do you think you're spending on transportation over time?
Right.
And if that is true of healthcare, which is another huge sink on what people spend, especially in this country.
Yeah, it's 30% of GDP.
If all of these things just get hyper efficient, because in a lot of ways there's nowhere to hide. That's like another thing that's really optimistic. When you have these like language models and agents processing huge amounts of data, you start to find these random inefficiencies that humans actually wouldn't find, or maybe are incentivized not to. Like it's very hard to hide, you know, like if you're like sneaking 30% margin and it just because you can,
right?
Does that get sort of competed away over time? Like,
yeah,
I think that there's some version of this where actually it's deflationary across everything.
Yeah.
And like robots will build your house, so you don't have to pay a contractor however much it costs to build your house. And robots will be in the mines and they'll be getting all the cobalt and manganese and neodymium and whatever the fuck else goes in your phones.
Right.
And your phones will be cheaper. And there's just a version of this where everything just gets so cheap that everybody has like a pretty good life.
Right. Here's what,
but if you want to be like super rich, it's probably not.
Right.
Probably not happening.
You have 18 months.
Yeah.
Right. Because the only thing in all of that I disagree with you on, Zach, is that I personally don't think, I think people think that they work to pay bills and spend time with friends and family. I think that people actually need a job, a reason to be doing hard things. Like, I don't know if I totally agree with this stat, but you know, there's that stat that like the average person dies within 6 years of retirement.
Yes.
Right. Even if that's partly true, because, you know, that's obviously incredibly flawed because people are retiring when they're old. So of course, you know, whatever. But the point is, even if that's partly true, I think that there is this like sitting back and being with friends and family actually isn't enough. And there's another side of what humans need.
But there are other hard things that people can do that are not work. Like even in your fitness journey, for example,
Thank you for recognizing.
Yeah, of course. Wow. even though you probably like the output.
You need to reset the sauna? Do we need a break? What do
you I gotta go do some push-ups.
Even though the output is the thing that you're chasing after, you probably just enjoy the routine of going to the gym, having some lifts, seeing a couple buddies, you know? So like hard things are not just work. It is not just the way that you make money. You can find hard things. You can go, climb really tall mountains. You can go fucking teach yourself to skydive. There's a million hard things to do that can give yourself purpose. I would actually argue that like filling somebody's gas tank at the gas station probably doesn't give that much purpose to most people. Right. Or figuring out what cold foam to put on this guy's matcha does not give. It's actually not doing the thing that you're talking about, which is giving people a purpose.
I agree, but I'm going too in the weeds here, but like, so I'll be quick, is like, I think that a lot of people, and I don't mean this in a mean way, like don't sort of critically think about their lives. And so it turns out that, man, showing up at the gas station really was my thing. You know, I would see Jim, he'd come every Wednesday. I'd see Cheryl after work. I'd help that person with their flat tire. And sure enough, even though if you would have sat and scripted it, you wouldn't have chosen gas station filling up people's gas, but it accidentally gave you more meaning than you realized. And it's just being useful to humanity, I think, is a pillar in what humans need. And I don't think they're always good at finding it themselves.
My only contention with that is that the cart before the horse, meaning is the only reason they feel fulfilled by the gas station because they have to be at the gas station anyway.
That's a good
and they
question.
have to find purpose in it. It's like, is seeing Phil or whatever every week just the silver lining for something that they otherwise would rather not be doing?
It's a good question, but I would then meet you, and then I promise I'll stop because we could do this for 2 hours and I'm really having a great time, is like, sort of like enlisting in the military. Like, once again, not everyone, not trying to be rude, nothing, but there is this element of like kids, young people without purpose, and maybe that are getting in trouble. And, you know, because having nothing to do, people tend to end up getting in trouble. That's a very common path. And so let's put you in the military. Let's give you some discipline. Let's give you something. And all of a sudden there's so many people. I have relatives that are this way that say, wow, that did it. That gave me something that I didn't know I needed. That set me on the right track. That kept me out of jail and this and that, drugs. I just needed a purpose. And I literally needed someone to make me do it, because I otherwise, left to my own devices, I wouldn't have found it myself.
So I just to, even if you want to think about me, you, and Dee's experiences working together, I would to this day highlight in the last 20 years of being an adult working that my fondest moments were when we were in the Reckless office.
For sure.
And it was like make or break, and we got a win. Yep. And we're like, I can't believe that happened. The win happened. We got the PacSun order, the Tilly's order, whatever it was. And then we all celebrated in the office, and we're like, oh, this is awesome.
That's
like
right.
Recreating that in 2026, I think is tough. Even with your business, I mean, I know a lot of it's probably remote, and I know D has
not the
people
same.
all over. Even when you guys have the biggest wins, it's not the same fun.
No,
if I had to guess.
And I just think the thing that's weird about humans is if we would have been able to push a button to not have that adversity at the time, we would have pushed the button. And I think you're right, Zach. And I don't know. I'd have to think about it if it's cart before the horse. But
don't you think the adversity made the fun?
No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think that there's an element of human beings don't even know what's good for them. Like they need a hard thing to like, okay. If you said, hey, your job is gone, but here's the good news. You can do whatever you want. I think for most people, that is a terrible proposition. Like I think most people without being given a challenge aren't going to come up with one themselves that's healthy. You know, there's that quote, idle hands or the devil's workshop or whatever. I believe that. I think that we are all very self-startery people. And I think in our bubble, it's a lot of that. But I think that there are a lot of people that struggle or, you know, have addictions or have things that they need to be steered.
I guess my question is in the absence of all that, are their lives materially better or worse than going and working 12 hours at a gas station every day, filling up gas, breathing in carbon dioxide, probably can't pay for healthcare, probably can't afford the food that they want to eat?
I would say this is what I'm trying to get at, and this is only for cart before the horse because I'm trying to work it out while I'm talking, is if the alternative is meth because you're lonely and bored and you have nothing to do, and so you spiral and you isolate and people go in really dark directions in the absence of a challenge being given to them. And I just think I don't know. I think as much as people might complain about the job at the gas station, there are a lot of people that if you fired them, they would actually find out that they were way worse off alone without needing to be up at 8 a.m. to show up to the thing than they are otherwise.
I mean, the best example in society is people that have spent 10, 15 years in prison. When they get out, they don't know what to do because they were used to that structure.
Most of them go back.
Yeah, the recidivism rate is pretty high.
That's why I think the best comparison is, at least for me, this was a thing where I'm from, is that if you were getting in trouble and didn't have a purpose and didn't plan on going to college, maybe you didn't do well in school and you were having run-ins with the cops, one of the most common solutions is send them to the army. And people would go to the army and they would come back with great posture and muscles and disciplined and like, wow, that really set them on the right track. I'm not saying it works for everyone. I'm not having any comment on that. I'm saying that sometimes people can't come up with a healthy challenge on their own and they need one given to them.
And even with that example, the veterans that come back, we've seen reintegrating in society without that structure has proven challenging. And there's countless examples that we've seen.
I mean, there's people who have gotten cancer or things and said like, this set my whole life, obviously recovered. And then like, wow, this gave me, now I donate my time to patients. Now Anand, you kind of have this a little bit in your world. And it's like, even though it's so hard and such a challenge, I'm not speaking for you, but like there is this element of like, wow, it gave me this horrible challenge. This really hard challenge gave me a meaning, once again, on and not you specifically, that I didn't know I needed, or that really filled up my life in a different way. And that's what concerns me. And then I'll stop ranting I don't know.
I think I'll use myself as an example, and Amanda too, right? What we've gone through with Maverick has introduced us to so many different families that have similar, more challenging issues than we've had. And that has given us, purpose is the wrong word, but it it's given us meaning in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
The way, wherever we can help them. We have a family that's in UCLA that we're like in constant contact with right now as we speak, that, you know, we're very close with, and we're like, how can we help? And then, you know, I've gotten very involved with the hospital, like in a pretty deep way, like forget financially, like trying to bring awareness and different outside the box thinking in a medical world that has made me want to bring like my version of like tech world experience into the hospital. Right. And I'm actually like actively working on this, and it's been, it's been meaningful for me. So to your point, you're 100% right.
And that's just and I'll bring it all the way back, and then, you know, whatever is like, that's just my concern is I'm with you, Zach, on like, well, yeah, but if you now had all of this time where you don't have to work at Starbucks or the gas station or whatever, isn't that great? And I just wonder like if it is. I wonder if get left to their own devices, everything goes in a positive direction.
I guess Zach's counter before I answer for him would be like, he might not have a choice.
Well, no,
one, I don't think that there's one, there's definitely not a choice, but two,
there you go.
Is
this is the polarizing Zach.
I mean, listen, the other thing that I'd probably shout out about this is that I didn't think this way 4 months ago, 3 months ago, even. It is just the reality that I feel like I've been faced with by spending more time in San Francisco, spending more time with people at the forefront of AI who are really pushing the edge and pushing the boundaries of what seems possible. Actually, maybe even a year ago, I thought AI was just a bubble that was going to pop. And the more time I spend with the people who are working on it the hardest, like you really should look up, like go look at the OpenAI safety lead, their resignation letter and what they said. It's hysterical. Nobody knows more about what's about to happen than that person. And it's hysterical.
All right, well, fuck. What else? Anyone want to talk about gardening?
I think this was a great, thoughtful discussion on where the world's heading. But we have a couple fun topics. We got two big ones, in my opinion. Just to make it lighthearted, Zuck sparring on the water, which I believe was Lake Tahoe, with a UFC fighter that you could probably give some background on. And what were your thoughts? Zuck versus Jonah Hill, what you saw from the video clip that's gone viral.
Well, look, and I don't want to act like the fight expert, but like Zuck definitely smokes Jonah Hill. There's just zero question. Yeah, okay. So let me just, because I was watching the video. Zuck smokes Jonah Hill. That's not even, no question. But this video, look, I get it. It's cool. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. You're, rich as shit. If you want to spar on your floating dock and get thrown in the water, I'm not mad at it. It's just, it's a little nerdy, like it's a little, but whatever. The guy, who am I to judge? This guy's going to own my life in 2 years. So he's one of the
guy
AI
he's fighting is like a UFC champion from what I Googled, right?
Rehab, yep.
So he's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
He's very good.
Very, very good. Yeah. And
so in that sparring, is that a normal spar where the teacher's just trying to No,
he's going super light.
Yeah, they're messing around.
And he's going, if that guy wanted to just absolutely kill him.
That I know. Yeah, obviously, he could kill him.
Yeah.
But did Zuck perform? That's all I want to know as an rich guy that's clearly in shape now. Did he perform?
Here's my take. Wow, the rich guy obviously trains a lot. Like he has good technique. Your average person walking down the street doesn't look like that when they throw a kick or when they would. But is there any wow, whoa? No, but it's still good. It's still impressive because he's still very far from your average person. But Merab is literally, Merab, it would take 3 seconds for Zuck to be unconscious in the water if Merab decided.
It was good. Zach, content, did you have a different take? Opinion.
I don't think I had it. I think that Zuck was not performing, but it was certainly performative.
It was performative to say the least. Yes.
So was Zuck probably trying 100%? Yes. Was Merab probably trying 20%? Also, yes. And so I think, and like they had all the different angles. They had the guy fit like with a red camera going in a circle around it. It's obviously, I think that Zuck has actually paid probably a lot of money, and Facebook has probably paid a lot of money on just like PR people to rehabilitate his image. And this is just this is just an ad for Zuck effectively.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Dana White's on the board of Meta.
Yeah.
Do you think he encourages him? Because this video is clearly going to get 100 million views.
Probably already has
platforms.
that. Probably already has.
Yeah, they love it. They all love it. Like, because imagine if you're Merab, from Georgia is where he's from, not the state. And the Mark Zuckerberg wants to fly you to Tahoe to go in the middle of a lake, and he has this thing, and there's going to be a production crew, and all you got to do is not fuck him up, and it's so cool. It's like, are you kidding? And then to Dana, it's like, this is also UFC promotion and just testosterone promotion. I bet they are just all so hyped, and Zuck just thinks like, wow, I'm hanging out with just killers, and what a cool video. And I'm sure they're just the happiest they can possibly be. And they should be. It's just, to Zach's point, it is definitely performative. And look, I don't ever want to be the guy that knows a little bit about MMA and becomes a hater. It's not that. It's just like, okay, we all know I don't think you're being a hater,
but there's just a clear purpose for this that is not specifically for the love of MMA. Like, he's not, there's some version of this where he's like posting it because he likes MMA a lot.
That's right.
But there's probably a much more important version of this, which the Facebook board of directors 3 or 4 years ago was like, hey, every single person fucking hates you.
Yeah.
Can we try to get you to do some cool shit, like buy watches and fight MMA stars so that people just think you're like not a lizard?
And there was even a clip of his wife, Priscilla, in a canoe. Why do you have your shirt off? And he's like, I'm trying to look cool.
Him surfing with the American flag every July 4th. Like, it's very clearly a campaign to get him to be a more relatable, likable person.
Yeah.
And this is just one aspect of it.
Which is good.
It's cool. I agree.
And do you know what I also can't hate on? Because I'll say, like, just when I was 12, 13, my mom would sign us up for like Eddie Jones, which was a Laker at the time, a basketball camp.
Right.
And we got to play one-on-one with Eddie Jones, and he would let us like drive by him and score.
Right. It's exactly that.
And I get to say like, oh, I scored on,
Same shit.
It's exactly that. And same thing. If you showed it to your friends that were your age, they would be like, whoa, that's Zuck with his buddies. If you showed it to Eddie Jones's friends, they'd be like, oh, how cute. That's Merab and his buddies.
Yes, that's a great.
And what I was going to say is, Zach,
point.
I agree. I think it's good PR. I think it's good. If I just today was the head of the PR team, I would say, hey, I think we might be starting to overshoot the mark. Like, I think it's getting a little like, I think when there was like photos of him doing the Murph and that stuff, it was like, damn, like Zuck's ripped. Zuck's fucking really about it. When you start to see highly produced videos of him being sort of babied and the wife in the canoe. And like, I just think maybe we're going a little too far. We might have to realize
anything is better than how people used to see him.
Also true. That video of him drinking water, testifying in front of Congress was devastating.
Yeah.
He's come a long way.
5 years ago, he was literally like top 10 most hated person in all of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't even know if he's top 100 anymore.
I think Sam's taken the
Sam, Elon, and all Bezos, all these guys.
Yeah. I bet you in his rooms, like in the rooms that Zuck are in, people must be saying to him, like, damn, you're a fucking beast.
I would think so.
For sure. But also, like, Zuck is not talking to that many normal people every day, Right, like the amount of people that he interacts with that would actually give them their real opinion of him is so low.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, but there's also when the hedge fund billionaires, they all are like professional cyclists, and they all want to compete against each other, and he's fighting a UFC fighter. That's a little cooler than being a fake professional cyclist.
Totally.
Yeah, they're like playing tennis with, Federer or whatever. He's fucking getting body slammed into Lake Tahoe by Merab. Yeah, he's probably so sick in his world.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm all about it. I think it's all a positive. What was your other fun topic on it? You said you had a fun one and 2 fun ones?
Yeah, Kai and Speed, the marathon that's going on right now. So Kai and Speed.
So fucked.
It's like us and Zach, like they were apart for a while, come back together, super content.
Do you know what they're trying to do? How hard what they're trying to do is?
They trying to like beat?
All I know is it's a Minecraft marathon. So you tell me.
They have to beat 4 of the hardest bosses in Minecraft on hardcore mode, which is universally every single professional Minecraft player has come out and said this could be a 1 to 2 year stream because it is so hard to do. And so they actually had to go back and be like, hey, if we're not any closer after 10 days, all the rules change. So the original thing that they set out to do, it's 10 days. 10 days. No, 10 is when they get to shift the rules to make it much easier. If they had just gone to do it the exact way that they set out originally, it could have been years before they finished this. It's like one of the hardest things to do in all video games.
And like, is there any chance they do it? So there's no chance they do it.
They don't. In the original rule set, 0%, I would say. But once they amend the rules on day 10, I think they have a much better shot.
So is this Minecraft paying them, or they're just making money off the subs?
I think that there's probably, at this point, if they didn't have a deal with Minecraft or something, it would be very surprising. I know that he had a deal with Elden Scrolls when he did the Elden Scroll one, and it was, and so I would imagine so. But they're going to make so much. They're going to have tens of thousands of concurrent viewers for however many days straight. It's hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, easy.
Yeah, in 10 days.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, and it's entertaining. I've seen the clips. I don't know if you guys have caught them, but at least they're so funny. Those two, they're just so fucking entertaining.
That's what's so crazy about this streaming thing. I think we've talked about this before, but it's like especially when you're as big as Kai and Speed, like when you do a moment like this, it's just your clips dominate social media. Like my whole social media, like TikTok especially, is just Kai and Speed clips, and it just because there's an endless pool. Obviously, they're paying all the clippers, but it's like you have this moment that just dominates the conversation for that, demo at least.
And for me, I'm not even seeing them play the game. I'm seeing them dancing, working out.
Yeah.
And same. What Zach explained to me, and I thought I caught a lot of the clips. I didn't get any of those of them actually trying to compete against a world-class Minecraft gamer.
No. I think that's the B story. Like, I think just them together in a house is the thing. And why are they there? Well, they're there to do this. I think for real gamers, like, they obviously love it. I didn't realize how hard the challenge was, but like those two together in a house is just blockbuster.
For real people watching Twitch, they care a lot about the Minecraft stuff. Yeah. For people consuming clips, they could care about everything else.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just.
But they got me to pay attention to talk about Minecraft, because I would not talk about Minecraft if it weren't for Kai and Speed.
Yeah.
They're just blockbuster, huge, though.
Man. Yeah, it is. It just blows my mind. Like, I guess it's kind of old news now, but like, especially those two are just on a level of celebrity that is hard to imagine, I think.
Yeah. What's crazy is they're not even like, I would say that they are not even like the highest earning streamers at all. They get the most impressions for sure.
Yeah. I heard some of the gambling got Trainwreck or some of those.
Trainwrecks is the number one by far. XQC second by far.
That's right.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Trainwrecks has 200, 300 mil in the bank already.
I really wonder, because these kids are young, right? Kai is in his early 20s. Speed, I think, is 21.
Yeah.
Like, they actually cannot go out in public for the rest of their lives.
No.
Because even Bieber, who I think is one of the biggest stars we've ever seen in our lifetime, he still goes out and tries to go to Starbucks or the sandwich shop, and obviously people swarm him.
They could do that. I think if they stopped streaming in 5 years, they could do what Bieber does. Try to go to hot yoga and fucking.
The version that you see where it's so fucking crazy is because they are live streaming their location.
Right. That makes sense. Yep.
Yes, that's a great point. Like, if Kai just went to a coffee shop. If Kai just
walked into a random store, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But it's because everybody knows their exact location 100% of the time when they're streaming.
And they're looking at their phone, responding to chat.
That like tens of thousands of people all swarm that one location. But if they're just living their lives like normal people.
I really wonder. That would be a good live stream of a live streamer.
I agree.
Can you go to Subway and get a sandwich?
I'll tell you what else I wonder is kind of in that point on it is like, Bieber, I'm not calling him out specifically, but a lot of sort of young celebrities of that level like have really struggled like with mental health. And what I wonder is, I know these streamers, let's say Kai and Speed specifically, I know that they face like potential burnout they do work like crazy. But I wonder if you're sort of more in a world where things aren't being imposed onto you. Like they're more creating their schedule and their ideas, and as opposed to like managers and labels and massive agencies and things. Like I wonder if that makes you a little bit more sound mentally, because that level of fame and money at that age is just.
You know what I think is the scarier part is live streaming creates a level of like parasociality that we've never ever seen before. Like there are people, like when Michael Jackson was fucking huge, so many people were like, oh, I'm married to Michael Jackson. That's my soul. Like there's probably 100,000x times the amount of people who are like, actually Kai and Speed are my best friends. Like and because you spend so much time with them in this parasocial way, yes. I think that like the scarier thing for me, for these guys, is actually that some like crazy person will be like, hey, we've been best friends for 10 years. Why won't you, like, I'm going to fucking gang stalk you forever now.
Yeah, that's so
because
true.
We're best friends.
Because even in my world, like we always used to kind of joke about how when our show was really, really big, we would joke about how like it felt like we were more famous than we actually were, because people thought they like knew us. They thought they were in our house. They thought they knew our relationship. They thought they knew the dogs. Whereas like if you saw a mega celebrity, if you saw Zac Efron at the Beverly Center, you don't think you actually know him. You know his characters, but there's this element. Like we would literally every single weekend night at 2:30 a.m. like clockwork, people would show up to Rob's house with alcohol and beer. Like they were showing up to a house party that they were invited to. And the occasional times that we would answer the door and say, what the fuck are you doing? They'd be like, oh, the club closed. The bar closed. We want to come over and hang. And like legitimately, people we had never met, had no connection, would Google, find out where the house is, show up with beer and drinks like they were just going to come hang with their buddies. That was a long time ago and way different from how these guys are. So I can only imagine, to your point, Zach, it must be absurd, because it's not nearly the amount of like connection that those guys have.
And for their own mental health, you got to think of it like method actors who we've seen a lot of like instances of method actors that can't get back into real life because they, made themselves this character.
Right.
Kai and Speed are making them like we have no idea what they are like personally, right? All we know is what the clips say. Are they making themselves that character? And then when they are off camera, are they like, am I still that person or am I the other guy? And if you think about it, this is all they've known as their like adult mind. Like, how do you function 10 years from now? Well,
here's the other thing that I think is like really scary and sort of like a Pavlovian way, which is they have a live chat, obviously, that is effectively instructing them what to do. And every time they listen to the chat, they get flooded with tips and donations and subscriptions and whatever. So they are effectively teaching themselves that they basically have to just do whatever the chat says.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that over time, that gets more and more extreme because the chat gets bored with the more mundane things. The chat can be like, go shoot a basketball only so many times before they're like, actually, you should go skydiving, or actually you should, like, it just, the extremeness ratchets up, and they've found themselves in this feedback loop where they have to listen to the chat.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so dangerous for like new streamers, because it's like, okay, you could just be watching Kai and Speed and all the greatest streamers. Why am I going to watch you? Like, you have to really go above and beyond,
extreme, which is why you see all these like people like doing this crazy shit, all these new, like, I think that they're called like nuisance streamers because they're literally just trying to do really extreme shit and get reactions out of people.
And they might die.
Yeah.
We've seen multiple streamers die.
Multiple streamers have died. Multiple have gone to jail for like extended periods of time.
I don't think it ends well. I honestly don't. I really don't, because if you think about it, like you can complain about what Hollywood's done to a lot of people, a lot of actors, child actors, adult actors, but they get to turn it off when they're off screen, at least temporarily. These guys have not been able, they don't get to turn it off.
Well, I mean, Kai went and did his like, I'm fake starting a clothing brand and moving to Switzerland for like however long.
Right.
But
Kanye
the money's too good.
Yeah. And I do think like Kai took that break. He came back. The viewers were still there. And so, I think that once you get to a certain level, you might be able to earn some time off. But man, if you're trying to come into the world of streaming, you have to do the craziest shit every day
for 80 hours a week.
All day. Yes.
Yeah. The average streamer makes less than minimum wage.
It's a wild. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. we'll see what happens. But hell of a Minecraft marathon while we got it. Listen, guys, we didn't get to the positive today, but I hope you liked it. It was really fun in the middle. No, I think it was great. I think I genuinely enjoyed that conversation about AI and stuff because, obviously it's the main, one of the main things that literally every human is thinking about. And I think everyone's trying to figure out.
You know what I think is like a productive thing to do?
Huh.
So people just don't think that I'm just this like doom and gloom type person. Everybody should go and find the smartest person in their life that is using AI and just get their perspective on what's happening.
That's good. I like that advice.
I think they'll.
But keep in mind the smartest people you're talking to and the smartest people your average person is talking to.
I think that no matter what, it kind of works out the same.
Okay, that's fair. Look, I'm still positive. I still have an optimistic take. Okay, is that it? Shout outs?
That's it. Shout outs.
What do we got? Is there shout outs in here? 3 shout outs. Shout out, happy birthday to Jackie Martinez.
Happy birthday, Jackie.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jackie.
Big
Jackie.
teammate of ours.
From Paul, I am now live with over 60 people using the AI-based endurance training app, going live in the App Store this month, and actually really proud of what I've built. It's more than vibe coding at this point. Since you have the Run Club, maybe check it out or give it a shout out on the group chat. Anything would help. At Training Hub is the Insta. Thank you all for what you're doing. Paul, you have 18 months.
18 months it is.
Shout out to Paul and to Training Hub. From Sean, can I shout out my son's 12U baseball team, Hensley Baseball from San Diego? They just did their trip to Cooperstown All-Star Village. Started off 2-6 in a pool play, seeded 59, and won the tournament. It was really the most epic trip. If you get the opportunity, you have to take your son. Fireworks in the rain, 52 homers, such an epic experience. I brought my youngest kids, 6 and 7, and got the vibes going with Good Morning. Still loving those dance parties in the morning. Shout out.
Not to go back to what this whole thing has been about, but This is the type of shit that people should be doing.
Sean, you got 18 months.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. And I do think, I agree.
Like, this is what keeps people happy. Shit like this. Going to see your kid play baseball, watch some fireworks.
That's right. Let the robots do the rest. Okay, I like it. That's not a pessimistic take. That's why I just want to be clear. I don't even feel like, Zach, your take was very pessimistic. I think maybe the 18 months.
But that's only if you want to get really rich. Not everybody wants that. Most people just want a good life that they don't have to think about too much, be too stressed out. I think that is actually going to be much more attainable. The average person is so stressed about random bullshit, you know?
Optimism. We just ended on optimism.
They're going to have a great life. Things are going to be cheap. They're not going to have to work too hard, and they're going to be able to enjoy fireworks in the rain.
That's great. Okay, there we go. Positive ending. Ani, did you have some?
Yeah, I got last shout out. At the minimum, it's an audience of one. Mrs. Path.
Mom.
My daughter Vivian has a message. Drama's mom, Vivian, just wanted to give you a shout out.
Gonna love that. She's gonna love that. Thank you, Viv. Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Zach, thank you, man. We'll see what happens. I mean, we might have just grown your hater audience. I'm not sure. I think,
it's all good.
I think in the end,
if Zach shows up with security one day at the pod, then I'm going to get very nervous.
I know it's coming, but no, I think, like I said, everyone always comes up to me when these episodes come out and talks about how much they love your perspective. So thank you for joining as always.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for listening. Kathy's, everyone have a great week. Peace.
Hi, Mrs. Path. I heard that you love me on the podcast, and I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to say that I love the talk on that about artificial intelligence. Thank you. That's my opinion.